What's up, guys? Today we're installing
bed bump out.
That's right. So let's get into it. So we're actually not cutting into the metal. We actually decided to cut out some 1/4 inch wood so we get more foot space in the bed. You should get approximately 74 inches of foot space now. Stay tuned, guys. Sub, like,
Subscribe.
share it with your grandma.
And your mom, and your cousin, and
your
your
daddy.
sister, and your papa.
Alright, now here's the part where I kill you on camera with my spear. Anyway, I don't mean to scare you. Okay, so you're gonna need a series of a bunch of different tools. So I suggest using a jigsaw for cutting your wood, or if you just get a 2x4 piece of plywood, it will fit right in there. You can get them from Lowe's, but if you're like us and you wanted to buy a 1/4 inch piece of plywood, that's our bed bump out right there. You don't have to make it circular like I have it, but that's just how we decided to do it. We use a jigsaw to cut that plywood, and we use a multi-tool, which is a very important tool to have, and also important to make sure it is for cutting metal. So we're going to be using this to cut out those beams that I just talked about, and then obviously have our drill and our impact. So we're going to be using this to do our pocket hole screws, and also it would be very nice to have a pocket hole jig so you can make pocket holes in your wood. And then if you want to treat your wood, which I highly suggest, get yourself some Kills 2 and treat your wood with that. So that is everything you will need. So let's get into our install. All right, so now we're going to use a multi-tool to remove this beam here. I may as well just pull out this insulation now, because we didn't realize we were going to be cutting this out. And then we'll actually just replace it right here. Yeah. To be right in the camera. So yeah, we just need to remove a couple weld spots. So right here, and right here, and right here, and right here. All right, rip her off. You want to take it off again? Sure. Yeah. Boom. Oh. Alright, so now that these things are gone, what we're gonna do is reattach the thin slit that we put behind it. Or if you hadn't done all this already, you would just measure out and put a whole strip right here. But since we didn't, we're just gonna do it right now. But first, also, if you do what I did, you're gonna want to do primer and protective enamel down here on these pieces. Our 3M thin slit that we use to put up the insulation, I'm gonna do it right here and back behind these things, because yeah, they're starting to fall apart, and any other pieces that are starting to fall, but this stuff is really light. Bed bump out 1 complete. You're gonna want to get 2 of these 2x4.
24 3/16 inches. Just measured it and cut it. It was a little bit short, so I cut it and did it again.
Clamp her down.
Level.
Okay, so now we have the recessed headboard in there, but we are not installing it yet, obviously. I kind of just have it pried in there, so it's just sitting and resting in there. So what I'm gonna do now is figure out where the furring strip is going along here, and then I'm going to set that there, and then I'm gonna figure out where I'm gonna put the recessed 2x4 at in here. And I'm also gonna put one on this side as well. So all right, so step number 1, you're gonna place your bed bump out where you want it to go. So we have low E in here, so I'm actually gonna cut around so it actually sits in there flush, but I'm still keeping the low E in there. So we're gonna place it in here, just like that. So now let's go ahead and feel around with our hand and use some scissors to cut in here. So we gotta find the support beam right here. So once you find the support beam and you can feel it, just go ahead and start cutting. And you're only cutting so that it fits in here. Boom, just like that. And now everything else should just kind of fall into place. Well, not up here. So now, there we go. Everything's kind of loose. So now what you're gonna do is take your pencil, you're gonna grab both of your bed bump out pieces. Take your bed bump out. Obviously, if you have a 2x4 where it's already cut to size, so that's better. But just go ahead and take this and place it in to where it should go. Push the low E behind it if you can. Just like that. So now you're gonna take your bed bump pieces. So this one's gonna go over here. You're gonna place this in there. Make sure your pocket holes are facing the outside. Okay, so it's been a little while since I worked on these bump outs, but I wanted to explain things a little bit better. So on these 2x4s, I actually put wood glue in the seams, and I also used some long wood screws to mount this to this. So also you noticed I cut a bunch of holes in this low E so I could fit this in there. I then lined it up with the low E seam tape that it comes with. So if you haven't seen my video on these furring strips, definitely go check that out. I also have another video doing the ceiling ones, which go a little bit more in depth on the low E seam tape. Also, it may seem like these are sticking out like weirdly, but if you put a board up to these, it sits flush. So now what we're gonna do is mount these top parts. So now we're gonna have a piece of plywood going across here, and then on top of the bottom one. I've just had to wait a long time because I'm running wire through here. So let's get anything out of these cracks if we haven't already. So here's what our pocket hole screws look like. We got one up here at the top, then we got one here at the bottom. So far, installation was super easy. This is part of your wall already done. You just need to paint over this when it comes time for that. The only problem is this. So I need to fix this one. All right, so we have our boards painted. We did some pine. So this one is gonna go up in the top deck right here. So we're gonna mount this from the side. So we're gonna use this cool little contraption, which I'll link below. So it'll make it so we're able to drill into the side right here. And then we're gonna have this other board. This one's a little bit thicker because of our bed. And the same applies on the other side. So we're gonna be using this cool little bendable tool that you can put in an impact, and you can bend it and start drilling in places that you normally couldn't. And then we're gonna go ahead and do a pilot hole. So we're gonna put that in there, and then any angle you can twist it. This one actually doesn't have enough force to get it in there, but we also have this other angle tool, so that came in clutch. So we're gonna put that in there and then try this again.
Oh, hell no.
Hey!
No, Ian, don't do anything you talk about. Don't do it.
Where'd he go? Where'd that fucker go?
I don't know, but you might be cooked.
He's probably pissed. We do bed bump outs, baby. Thank you for watching. Hope this helped. Sub and follow the journey because we're going on some crazy adventures. See y'all next video.